Okay, so this is when I went to the Wood County Museum in Bowling Green, Ohio. Hold on to your seats, people. This might take a bit. That place is full of spirit. As a medium, don't I look the part? So, okay, so let me see. My daughter was 2. So that would be about 15 years ago that I went. Now, the first time I went there, I just went there because I love historical places, and it had a nice little walking path behind it. Anybody who's ever gone there knows what I'm talking about, the woods and everything. So I went there with my little 2-year-old during the day with my little Pomeranian at the time, and we were walking the trail right behind the main house, but there's also there were a couple other buildings, and I'll go into them later, but it was right behind that. So I'm walking down the trail, and as I'm walking, I sense this humongous man. Huge, but he had a child's mind. Huge spirit, okay? I mean, he was huge in life, but he was like a child, and he was behind a tree just watching us come down the trail, and he was really attracted, not in a weird way, just really adorably interested in my 2-year-old daughter and my dog, which is a cute little 5-pound Pomeranian. So he was just and I could see him. I don't know if he knew. So I was sitting there talking to him, and he was so intent on them that as a mom, even though it's spirit, I was like, this is a little too much. But I felt like he was going to follow us, you know. And I just tried talking to him like I would talk to a child and everything. And I didn't want I do it in my mind. I don't try to frighten my children or anything. I think my dog was sensing something because she kept moving to the other side of the trail, especially when we got near him. She was walking on the other side. I don't know because I can't talk to her, and she's now gone, so I don't know. But it was interesting as we got closer. She was a shy kind of dog anyway, so she was veering herself. So I decided, you know what, maybe this isn't the place to be walking by myself with my 2-year-old and my dog because we're all tiny and we're all almost completely defenseless. I'd like to think I'm not, but you know. So I was like, okay, maybe this is just a thing. And even though he was sweet and there was nothing threatening about him, I just thought this is too much. So I turned around and I went home. But I knew this is a place I must go back. So I got again with my friend Kathy from the other stories. She went with me, and during the day, of course. Now this place, I'm gonna do my best to remember everything, but it's a happening place in good and bad. Okay, there are some troubled, trapped spirits there, and there are some that are just having a party. I'll be honest. So you go in. There's 2 stories. You can Google it. Wood County Museum, Bowling Green, Ohio. They've got a million photos. So we go inside. I don't remember feeling anything boom right when we got inside, other than, yeah, this place has spirit. You know, you just know. Um, I don't remember anything specific in the front area or upstairs. There could have been something upstairs, but you know, I don't lie, and I'm not going to create stories just to make everybody ooh and ah. So we went down the corridor, and anybody who knows this room, it's a room of chairs. Right before it is a little set of glass cabinets with things inside of them, little knickknacks and history, because it talks about the history. This place used to be a sanitarium in the turn of the century, the last century, 1900s. And it did other things too, but everybody, I think, at some point had been in this place. I think it was even a place, well, you know what, I'm not going to say because I don't remember exactly, but I think it was a place for women, but I'll have to research it. Probably should have before I videotaped. Anyway, there's cabinets, there's walls of cabinets of knickknacks and stuff like that, and I was getting some energy off of them, but I don't remember specifically now what those were because I was more attracted to the room on the other side of this little space of knickknacks and cabinets, and there's this room with seaties and chairs and little tables and this and that. I walked in with Kathy, and I immediately got, this room is full of women having a party. I mean, some like in different periods, but I would say like 1920s, 1910 maybe, smoking, just smoking, drinking alcohol. There had to have been 5 or 6 of them. Now, when I say the room is full, I just mean that's a lot for one room. And they're all laughing, and it was like, it was a woman's party. And they were like, hey, 2 more women. Like, they were just happy. They were like, hey, and I knew they knew we could see them. So they were just happening, fun, happy women. They were at a party. If I don't remember how they were specifically dressed, each one, but I'm not going to say they were dressed in the same year. You know, I mean, there was a little difference in their clothing, but for the most part, they had the long dresses on. I know that. But I even want to say one might have had a feather. Kathy would know, because I don't know what Kathy got, but I mean, coming out of her head. But anyway, they were just smoking, laughing, playing cards. There was a table and 2 were playing cards there. And Kathy's like, do you see this? You know, and I'm like, yes, I see this in our mind's eye, where they're not physically in the room. Otherwise, they'd be reenactors. So anyway, so she's telling me what she's getting, and I'm going, yep, 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 and I'm telling her what I'm getting, and she's going, yep, that's what I'm getting, and we were pointing to where, and we were just agreeing with everything we were getting. And she said, one wants you to sit down with them. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I didn't hear that, but okay. So I sit down, and I'm sitting there, and they didn't want us to leave. Like, they wanted us to stay and join the party, but, you know, we were there to investigate the whole place. So eventually we said our goodbyes. They are an amazing bunch of women. If you ever go in this museum, go to that room, especially if you're a female, because they are rowdy and they're there for a good time, and they're awesome, even if you can't pick them up. I always think that maybe people, even if you don't have psychic abilities or whatever, you pick up the energy of the room. So maybe you walk in feeling better, like feeling, you don't even know why you're feeling like, you have more energy or whatever. Maybe it'd be interesting to find out. So anyway, so we walked down this hall, and I don't remember specifically how. I know it came from the room, and there was a tiny little, almost closet looking thing, and it had this old wheelchair in it, and I believe there was a cot, an old cot there, and I think there might have been something else, but something minor, and that was it. That was all that was in this like big closet type looking room. As soon as I stepped over the threshold, and I did talk about this in my other video with the Harrison House bed and breakfast. This was my first experience with this. This came first. I walked over the threshold, and all of a sudden, I mean, I'm literally spinning like I walked into a tunnel. It, like, my whole brain was doing this, and I had to hold on to the cot in the wall because I felt like I was going to fall down. And I went, whoa, like, I can't explain it. It was just, and I'm going, this is what is going on in this room. And Kathy walked in, and she was like, oh, I feel it too. She wasn't hit as hard, I don't think, as me, but she could feel that the room was off. And I'm like, I don't know, I've never been hit like that before. I didn't know what this was. I didn't know if it was a person. I didn't know. So I got out of the room and immediately felt better. And I'm like, that's a trip. It's like taking a drug or something, or drinking some alcohol, and you're like, let me do that again just to see if I have the same. So after regaining myself, I walk back in the room and immediately start having the same feeling. I'm like, what the hell is going on in this room? I couldn't figure it out. The wheelchair gave me the heebie-jeebies. I touched it trying to read anybody specific. I couldn't get anybody specific, but heebie-jeebies. Like, I was like, I need out. I don't know what happened in this room, but whatever it is, isn't good. Come to find out, by the end of the tour, we were talking to somebody, I'll cut to the chase on this room, that was the dead room. That's where they put all the dead bodies. When people died, that's where they would put them. And I think now that there was some sort of portal, and that was the energy I was picking up. So when I came across it in the Harrison House bed and breakfast in that one room, and when the lady, her daughter told me that that room had a portal, I went, aha, yeah, 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 yeah. Now that makes sense because it's the exact same feeling I got. So now I know what a portal feels like to me. I mean, everybody has their own gifts and their own abilities and their own way of interpreting. But for me, that's what a portal feels like. It just feels like my brain is, the room is spinning and everything. I get really dizzy. So, okay. And other things too, but that's the main thing. So we leave that place and we go to the next smaller building next door, which was where the crazies were kept. It was, I didn't like this. It was so sad. Um, it's like walking in on somebody's funeral, but times 10. Um, so when we walked in, they've got rooms, small little rooms. I'll call them cells, like a stable, all the way down. There had to been, I'm gonna say like at least 5 on each side, and they had them still decorated. They had like one bed, a little dressing table type of thing, or a little table, and that's it. Okay, and the doors were all open because it's a museum, so they want you to see, but the doors would have been shut, and they had one little window in this room. And that place was so sad and so intense. I think Kathy and I were having our own experience together. We were each overcome in our own ways by that building. And I remember walking into one room when you come in to the left. It could have been the second or third room. I walked in there and I just heard crying, sobbing, crying. Why me? Why me? Why me? And then I was saying it out loud. It was so intense. It was like, why me? Why me? And Kathy's going, well, it's because that they were deemed crazy. She was trying to answer it in a historical way, and I'm going, I'm not asking Kathy. This is the person in, so so I'm trying not to laugh, but at the time it was not funny. A little funny now, just because two psychics trying to do this, and she was like, oh, okay. So I go, that's just what I'm hearing. I was getting screams from all parts and deep, deep sadness. Like, where's my family? Why did they abandon me? It was the most intense sobbing thing. And off to the corner of when you come in the front door is this little hole. If you look past it, I guess it's where the water came in, like where there was a little drain on the cement floor, off in the corner, and I peeked in because it was dark and crevicey. I don't know what exactly that space was about. I don't know if they showered them there or I don't know. I crept in and I saw this old haggardy looking lady in the corner just like this, just rocking back and forth in spirit. And she just hunched over in the pain, and you immediately go, it's okay, because that's what you always say to people. At least that's what I used to do, because people don't like that. I mean, even in life I've said that to people and they're like, I'm not okay. Stop saying it's okay, because it's not okay. Well, that's what she did. It was my first foray into that. I go, it's okay, it's okay. And she goes, it's not okay. And she screamed it with everything she had and turned on me, like turned around. And I was scared, even though it was spirit. I genuinely was scared. And I go, I'm sorry, you're right. You're right. It's not okay. None of this is okay. It's not okay. And I'm getting emotional right now because it's that intense. I can't explain it. It was so intense. It was like dealing with real, I don't want to say real people in body. Okay, because they're still there. They just don't have a body anymore, and it breaks my heart. Okay, this is real. I'm not acting. This is for reals. So I couldn't do anything for her. So I had to step away, and I just gave her space. So I walked away, and I told Kathy, I was like, "Don't go in there." I mean, if you I can't force you to not go in there, but please be respectful. This lady doesn't want to be bothered. And I don't remember if she went in there or not. Um, so we didn't really stay in that space very long, but I do remember getting called. There was a second part, an upstairs with rooms, which is even more bizarre, like an attic version of this. But if you go there, you'll know what I'm talking about. Um, we went up the stairs. I don't know if you're allowed or not, but I can't remember if you had to pull down the stairs and walk up, or I think the stairs were already there. Um, we kept getting this feeling of don't come up, don't come up, don't come up. Not like don't come up, we're gonna kill you. It was more like please, 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 please don't. Like they were scared, they were afraid of us. So we decided we wanted to help them if we could help them. So instead of going up at two at a time, because that might be too much for them, we would each go up once and see if one of us could help. So I went up first, and they were like ducking. I mean, I would see them peeking out of doorways up there and everything, and they didn't want help. They were so scared. I just tried to leave them with some sort of peace or some sort of positive, loving presence, because that's all I could get or all I could give to them. They were so scared, like frightened little bunnies. I can't, like children, like. And that was also the sad thing, is there's children mixed in with these adults. It's not like it was just adults; they were children too. And it was so sad, and it was more than I could do to help. So I gave them love, and I backed away, and then she went up. Now, what Kathy did, I don't recall, and I don't know specifically because I wasn't in her head. So, and then we left them as best we could, and I think that was the end of our museum. So I'm trying to remember if there was anything else. I'm sure there were little things here and there, things like that, but the place is full of spirits. Just if you go, be respectful, especially in that second building.